Justin Popovich here. Today I want to talk about rapid content creation and give you some tips on how to create high quality content quickly. Now this could be content that you intend on selling, right? If you want to create some products that you put up on the market and have people buy them from you, download them, you could do that with this type of training. But it's also good if you just want to start branding yourself and putting videos kind of like this one up on YouTube or on your blog or wherever, so you can kind of show off a little bit, show your stuff. But it's a really good thing, right? Because for the people that follow you, if they can get value from your content, whether they're buying it or they're downloading it for free, the more value they get, the better the experience they have with you, the more likely it is that they will become customers, and then general associate positive vibes and good, good quality thoughts when they think of your name. So what I want to do is show you an example of how I was able to create an entire product really quickly, and some of the shortcuts that I use to get content out quickly. And then I'm hoping that by showing you some of these shortcuts, this will enlighten you or maybe inspire you to stop overthinking some stuff that you're working on right now, maybe take some of the same shortcuts yourself, and finally get that piece of content that maybe you're stuck on right now, get it out there and get it, get people consuming it, again, whether they're buying it or they're just downloading it from you. So let me show you my hard drive here. And what I have is I've just got a shot here of a product I created called the Virtual Handshake. And I'm actually going to include part of this product in addition to this video. So somewhere on this page where you're watching this training, you'll be able to download some of the content that was created in this product. This is basically a video course on what it takes to sell online. The virtual handshake basically stands for when you're doing a handshake in the real world, or when you shake someone's hand in the real world, you're making a deal in person. There's certain ways of behaving. When you meet people in person, there's a rapport that's built, and if you're selling face to face, you act and behave and treat people in certain ways, and that entire experience can be simulated online. And in this course I remind people that basic selling still works. You just have to remember that the medium is just a little bit different. You may not meet the person face to face, but a lot of the same principles apply. So that's what I wanted to teach in this training, and there's a video aspect to it, there's transcripts of those videos, and then there's PowerPoint or keynote decks, slide decks, depending on if you're on a PC or on a Mac. And then there's some graphics as well. But there's a mind map here that I started with. So this entire course was based on, it was something I knew I could create quickly. And if I want to relate this to your experience, so if you want to create good quality content quickly, then your first step is to pick a topic that you already know, that you kind of live and breathe, that you already do well. This is something that I do on a daily basis, this whole topic of a virtual handshake. I'm constantly selling things online and working on my skills to be able to develop relationships with people. So I knew some of the basic principles that I wanted to teach. Certainly they aren't the universal rules that everybody uses, but this is what works for me, and so I can teach based on my experience. So I created a mind map. And this is where the entire product started. I thought that was going to work. It didn't. So let me open up a little preview here so you can see it. And I can blow it up for you a little bit bigger as well, so you can see the entire mind map here. And just bear with me, that's a little bit too zoomed in. There, that should allow you to see everything. So, and this can work for you. So you might want to start with a mind map similar to this. This is just a JPEG or an image of the mind map. I would actually use my mind mapping application if I were showing you a deep down version of this. So again, start with a topic that you know. And for me, I knew I wanted to create a product called the Virtual Handshake. And then I sat down, I asked myself, what are some of the major topics that I need to make sure I communicate with people in order to effectively teach them what I know about selling online using proven sales strategies. And I came up with these 6 that you see in this first level of my mind map. Number 1 is positioning, number 2 is framework, 3 is connection, 4 is slow money, 5 is earning trust, and 6 is innovation. These are 6 topics or 6 names that I just invented, but they were all related to very particular lessons that I wanted to teach. And I could have gone deeper. I could have probably done 12 or 15 nodes on the first circle of my mind map, but I wanted to choose 6 very tangible, teachable things. And then from there, for each one of these, I kind of just brainstormed what are some particular things that I want to talk about when it comes to positioning or when it comes to earning trust. And then I made sub-nodes on my mind map that related to those topics. This entire mind map was created in maybe a 20 to 30 minute time frame. It was not a huge undertaking because the power of focus, right? I wasn't trying to do something new. I was simply trying to tap into things that I already do. I'm already I consider myself a qualified expert to talk about this stuff. So by focusing with a lot of intensity on this topic, and then on these first 6 points, I was able to come up with teachable items very, very quickly. I wasn't checking Facebook, I wasn't checking my email, I was only doing this, and this entire mind map was created, like I said, 20 to 30 minutes max. Once I had this mind map, the process of product creation started working for me very, very quickly. So let me show you exactly what I did. Next was let's actually start with this first note here, right? Positioning. I knew that I wanted to create a video. In order to create a video, I needed some slides to talk to. I use slides as sort of my visual cues to help me along when I create my videos. I suggest you try this method as well. So let me open up that slide deck. It was module 1 here. And so here's what I did. I took the mind map from here. Number 1, positioning. I had these few things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that I wanted to talk about, and I created a very basic slide deck. Look at this, 5 slides. A title slide. This became a template. You'll see that this title with the color scheme here, I use it over and over again, so I didn't have to think about it all that much. And then slide number 2 was a piece about positioning, so that was my overall message of what I wanted to say here. Next slide down was a common challenge, and this was related to an actual a newbie entrepreneur challenge that I wanted to speak to. I'll actually include that video so you can see the whole story behind the scenes. I don't want to get into it right now. And then I have a little graphic. I just thought of this, but it was a lesson that I wanted to teach about finding your sweet spot, where you have skills, there's a market, and there's interest that you want to get involved with. And if you can find something that covers all 3 of those, then you can sell stuff online. That was basically my message here. And then I had a very specific, actionable, tangible example for me that I wanted to relate to the audience, and then I gave them an exercise. So again, how long does it take you to create a slide deck of this length, 5 slides, once you already know what you want to talk about by doing this mind mapping process? Again, thinking back to when I created this, I believe the slide deck took me all of 15 minutes or so. Now here's the cool part, is once I had these 5 slides, I'll click play here so you can see what I do. With Keynote, now this is on a Mac, right? When I use Keynote, if you're using PowerPoint, same thing applies. When I click play, I can actually choose to animate things. In this one, all I animated was these bullet points here when I was talking about skills, interest, and market. And then I would cross things out. I just kind of animate these red lines coming in, and it allows me to talk to certain points. But it also guides me as the speaker. When I create the slide deck, I put these things in on purpose. I say to myself, okay, on slide 5, I want these red lines to appear in this order so that it makes me speak to each point in the proper sequence. I do this for a reason, because when I create the video, I don't want to have to do 15 different takes of my video. I want to do the slide deck once, record my voice, speak into the slides once, and be finished with it. Now, what I want to show you next is very important. You might be using something like Camtasia. I use something called ScreenFlow. I'm actually using ScreenFlow right now to record this. I'm hoping it lets me show you. Yeah, this is the app that's actually recording me right now. And what I can do is I can start a new recording in ScreenFlow. I can't actually show it to you right now because I'm literally speaking to you. But I click record, and it starts recording my screen and my voice. As soon as that happens, I go to Keynote, I press play, and I start speaking. Welcome to the virtual handshake. This training is all about implementing proven strategies or selling strategies in the online world. And in module 1, we're going to be talking about positioning. Then I'll go to the next slide. I'll use this as a visual cue. Remember, I created my slides in advance and deliberately knowing that I needed to create the slide to cue myself, to remind myself what I wanted to say. So I would look at something like this: positioning, making sure that your product or service meets the needs of a market that already spends money. And then I would just kind of freely speak. I would enhance that point a little bit. I would start talking about this topic of positioning. It's not something that's hard to do, again, because I've already brainstormed it on the mind map. I've already brainstormed it into my slide deck. I know exactly what I want to say at this point. If I happen to mix my words, let's say I get to the end of this little piece about positioning. I go to my next slide, which is the story that I tell about people, that a common challenge what I see with entrepreneurs. And let's say I really nailed this slide, right? I talked about positioning. I was super happy with that. I get to this slide where I start talking about the common challenge, and I forget what my story was, or I don't set the stage correctly for the story that I want to tell, and I have to pause. Well, that's fine, because what I do is I hit escape. I go out of Keynote, I go back to ScreenFlow, and I stop my recording. And again, I can't show it to you right now, but I stop my recording, and then I can restart the recording at the exact spot that I left off in. Once you're using something like ScreenFlow or Camtasia, you'll actually see there's a timeline here. And maybe it was at the 50-second mark. I can play it back and actually see it was at the 47-second mark that I mixed my words. And I can go back to the 45-second mark where that slide transition took place, right? From this slide to this slide, there was about a second and a half of dead air. I can cut in and begin re-recording right at my common challenge, right at my story. All of that, let's say it was 5 minutes of video that I shot between here and here. I nailed it. I don't have to redo it because I already recorded it and it's saved in ScreenFlow, and I just pick up where I left off. This allows me to create video courses extremely quickly. And this is something I just learned by trial and error, because in the past, what I used to do is click play, get the slideshow started, start my recorder, and then just pray that I could get through the 5-part or 10-part slide deck without making a mistake. And if I didn't, then I would start all over again, or I would have mistakes all throughout, and then I'd have to go back and edit the video. And all of those methods, in my opinion, take longer. The method I showed you right now is what I call the rapid content creation method. I'm literally creating a finished video as I go along by being able to pause and then restart from my previous spot in that video. And then I'll just quickly check, did that transition from my first section of the video to the second section that I record, did that sound okay? If I need to maybe splice off a second or two, then I'll do that. But that takes 5 seconds of editing versus maybe 5 to 10 to 20 minutes of going through the entire video that you shot and fixing all the mistakes you made as you went along. So I hope I explained myself to you there, but this rapid content creation method is extremely powerful. If I could just revisit it for you, again, I start with a mind map. I use the mind map in this particular example, if I want to do a video course, to create slides. And I've already thought about this concept twice now. In the mind map, now in the slides. When it comes time to recording the video, you can usually nail these videos first or second take. And because I use this rapid recording technique with my videos, where I literally record my video entirely in one take. If I make a mistake, I stop and I pick up from where I left off, so that at the end of the recording, the entire video is ready to publish. All of those things put together allows you to create content extremely quickly, again, be it for a blog video or for a product that you want to sell. I realize I probably covered a lot here, so if you have any questions, please do hit me up. I'd love to be able to answer them for you or clarify anything that was covered. But if nothing else, hopefully by exposing this process to you, it gives you a bit of inspiration for you to start getting those ideas, things that you're already an expert on, you're already really good at this stuff. Don't allow the technical stuff or your own personal hangups or worrying about being perfect stop you. Do this stuff, get the content out there, and share it with other people, because they're going to appreciate all they can possibly learn from you, which I'm sure is a whole ton of stuff. So best of luck with it, and I look forward to seeing what you're able to do with this material.